Okay, boys and girls, so I'm in my art studio where I have previously showed you on the other video, and I've been spending some time trying to figure out what it is that I want to do today. So I've done exactly what I told you guys to do. First thing I told you to do is find a happy place. That's where I am. It's nice and quiet. I got my windows open and I've got all my stuff that I need. All I really need right now is a pencil, maybe a Sharpie for later, eraser, and a sharpener. And I've got my coffee and I've got my phone for ideas. And I've had my quiet time. Um, and while I was having my quiet time, I listened to a song that I'm going to illustrate that is called Rise Up. Let me find it really quick. Um, it's a song I thought that was appropriate for this time because, hold on, I can't do two things at once. You know me. Um, there we go. All right. I'm sorry, it's not called Rise Up. It's called War Cry. It says Rise Up in it, and that's what I'm going to put on my picture, but um, I'm just going to play it in the background so you can kind of hear it. It's a it's a motivational song. It's upbeat. It's very inspiring. It has some super good lyrics. I keep listening to it. This is the song during this time that I keep listening to, and it just makes me feel like everything's going to be okay. Like there's a purpose for right now. Even me as a teacher, I feel like there's a reason right now this is happening, and I think the reason is for me to show you guys a little bit about my personal life, that goes beyond the classroom, about my faith, about um, my home life, about how I use art in my life, personally. And this song is so awesome. Y'all have to listen to it. I'll post it on the blog or wherever under the picture after I finish it. But it's really good, and it makes me really emotional. I just want you guys to know that I've been through hard things before, and the more hard things you go through, you realize, you know what, that's just another thing I got to do just to move on. And I think I've told y'all before, I was married and I lost my husband. He was real young. He was only 35 years old. My daughters were 2 and 6 at that time, and you know what? I could have let that break me. That could have been the end of me. I could have been sitting around in bed crying for the rest of my life, but something happened where, like a time like this, where you don't know what to do next. What are we doing? What's going on? I used my faith, my art, and music, those three things, to get me going. Like sometimes it would be a song that would help me get out of bed, or a song that would help me go to sleep, just a song that would move me through the day. So I've been through stuff. This is not a big deal. We're going to get through it. All we need is just those comforts and that inspiration to keep us going. So what I thought I would do real quick is just a review on lettering, because, like I said, sometimes you can't say what you want to say because you're too scared, or you're too nervous, or you're too shy, but your art can speak for you. You can just hold it up and say, this is what I want to say, look, and you can use your talent and your skill and everything I've taught you in that picture. So, one of the skills that I've taught you in the past, it was at the very beginning of the school year, was about lettering. And so before you begin this music project, I do need you to take the time to listen to your song over and over again and write down some of your favorite lyrics. I've written on the back of my paper all the lyrics, just real sloppily, that really spoke to me in the song. And there's way too many. I can't use all these words, but um, I guess the main words I want to use is this is our time to rise up. because the song is called War Cry, but to me, it's talking about how there's times in life where it's okay to just sit there and listen and learn and just, whatever. But right now, this is a time that we need to rise up, quit sitting around, quit thinking of this as like extra spring break. Think of it as a way to get up and move and do learning in a different way, a more personal way, a more real way. A lot of the stuff you learn in school, you might not ever use again. I forgot half the stuff I learned in middle school. I know that's not probably good to say, but I remember my art stuff, and I know how to apply it to my life. So this is important. So after you write down your lyrics, there's all these sloppy looking words right here. But the main words, I'm going to circle it, that I want to use is, this is our time to rise up. So now I got to take all this sloppy junk that I've written down here and make it look good. So I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to refer back to some stuff that I taught y'all a while back. Let me see if I can make this work better, or you can... Like I said, I am not a camera person, so everything I'm doing here is a little ghetto, but I'll just get through it, okay? So I'm going to start in the center here. This is where I'm going to write the words, this is our time to rise up. And so what I do when I do lettering is I think of the most important words, and I usually make those the biggest and the fanciest. And the other words I usually make smaller, and I spend less time on them. So the words are, this is our time to rise up. The words this is, not that important. So I'm going to make those pretty small. Our time to, a little more important. And the words rise up, that's the most important. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in the middle, because I already know I want to do a bunch of pictures around the outside. So I'm going to make a dot as a guide of where about the middle is. And let's see if you can see that good. Let's scoot this back. So that's where I'm going to start my words. So the first words, this is, I'm just going to make those just kind of simple. I might make them a little cursive-y, because I don't think I'm going to make those box or bubble letters. And I'll put in the under the video, or on the link, or on the Google Classroom, the website you can go to do more with lettering. It's what we used at the beginning of the school year for this, and I'll put that on there as a reminder. So I'm just starting with lines. Remember, there's line, shape, and form. These are going to stay lines, and as I get to the more important words, I'm going to turn those into forms and shapes. And at the beginning of the year, I taught y'all about trace and erase. I'm drawing this lightly, draw light till you know it's right, then I'm going to trace it, and then I'm going to erase the original lines. So that says this is... And then our time, I want to make it a little bigger. And like I said, I'm going to go really lightly, because I don't know how this is going to fit. It already looks like it's going to be a little off-centered. If it is off-centered, then I just erase and scoot it over. I think it is. So I'm going to erase that, but leave it just a little bit so I can see where I need to go. Our time. And a lot of times you can use math, because the word our time is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letters plus a space in the middle, so that's 8. So half of 8 is 4, so that means in the middle here I need to have 4 on this side and 4 on this side. I actually do use a lot of math when I'm doing lettering, because I think everything needs to be really symmetrical. So I kind of have this invisible guideline. You can actually draw a guideline if you want to help me know where to keep things centered. So I do remember math, and I do remember symmetry, and I do remember addition and subtraction, and a little more, but and measuring. That was what we use in art mostly. And remember, use your guidelines. I'm doing a light guideline under here so that my letters aren't all over the place. They're kind of unified here together. Sometimes you want letters to be perfect and sometimes you don't. Like, this is our time to. To is not an important word, so I'm going to make it super small. To rise up. This is going to be the fun part because this is what the song's all about. This is our time to rise up. So I need to think a little bit more about this, but I do know that I want it to be big. Okay, so I'm going to give myself a lot more space, and that the words rise up, that's not a lot of letters. So I'm going to do the R first, and I'm going to do it as a line, and then later I'm going to turn it into a box or bubble. Okay, so for just right now, so I can get my boundaries here, I'm going to just do it really soft and light, and draw light so you know it's right. And I'm almost out of room, but I think this is going to fit pretty nicely, and it will need a period at the end. And I do like to write the name of the artist, the singer that wrote the song. So that would be, I'll just write it kind of small at the bottom. Social Club Misfits War Cry. And I'll make that look better later. So this is our time to rise up. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to work on the word rise up. So something I thought of earlier that I thought, oh, that would be so cool is rise up. You can use symbols in your artwork to show meaning to something. So what I think I'm going to do is take one of these letters and make it an arrow that's going upward. And I don't think I want to use it on any of these. I think the best one to use it on is the U because it's already going upward. So I'm going to start with the U first actually, and I'm going to make the tip of the U an arrow going up. And then I hope you can see this. I think you can. It looks like you can. So I've got my lettering sketched out very lightly, and the technique that I taught you all at the beginning of the year and I'll share is called trace and erase. So I'm going to go around the original letter and trace it. When you trace it, it's going to make the letter bigger. The letter's going to get fatter. So it's important when you begin your lettering to make your lettering have a little bit of spacing, because if you don't, they're going to clump together, which that could be fine. That's using overlapping that I've taught y'all before. Overlapping is great, but if that's not what you wanted to do, then you need to give them a little bit of space. So I'm just tracing and erasing. The letter R and P have a hole inside. And so I've said those are donut letters. If you have a donut letter, you have to do a little bit of extra work, a little bit of extra exercise to burn those calories off. So you have to go inside and do another lap. Run a whole nother lap on the inside to make it look like that. Because if you don't, if you leave your P like that, it doesn't look like a P. I don't know what that looks like, but you got to do the inside too. So I have kind of finished the word up, although I am going to add more detail in it. I already envisioned this in my head, and I envisioned it with an extra outline around it like this. So I'm going to come back later and do that. I am going to make or try to make a fast motion video of me doing this, so it's not that long. You'll get to watch me doing it in fast motion, which I love making those because it's like, wow, I did all that quick. It's amazing. So I'm just going to keep going with this, and hopefully this has helped you. Remember, when you're done, it's called trace and erase. So after you've traced it, you have to go back and erase it. And what that does is it turns a line into a shape. And I did teach y'all before that you can even change this shape into a form by making it 3D. But I don't want to do that on this because that's not in my plan. But I'll share the resources with you to figure out how to do that. So I will post this picture when I'm done working on it on the internet, and hopefully that will inspire you guys to